then you said that they put millions of dollars. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog.
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. This obstacle sat in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe the slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Cracking the sky, nuclear missiles, I'm making it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom, we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now. You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. 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 Look, ain't no remorse in my blood cell. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember YAHANNA's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in the world of mad shooters. There was designed fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Oh, Shalom. 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 Yahweh Shabbat. All right, this is the conflict zone. This is the conflict zone. Welcome to the conflict zone. I'm Officer 1000 Abadawan, ISUPK Jamaica. All right, this week now, there's a certain development that is taking place in the Caribbean with, as where Jamaica is concerned and Haiti. Our government is saying, I think it's by next Tuesday, they'll be putting boots on the ground in Haiti. I was trying to find it and watch it this morning. Let me see if I can see it again. They're supposed to put boots on the ground in Haiti. But it's not a lot they're sending. But I'm a little bit disappointed with CARICOM in general. Maybe I don't have I don't have all the cards, so maybe it's best if I take a little watch and see rather than to say CARICOM. The reality is this, the Caribbean community. Haiti is a member of the Caribbean community. I would like to see Jamaica reach anywhere near Haiti where the government collapse and the other CARICOM countries can help and don't help. Maybe it's a situation where the Caribbean community wants to help, but the funding could be the problem. They want to do it, but not doing it from their own pocket, which kind of makes sense because who is going to reap the benefit? It's really America still, America is the one with the massive what do I call it now? Embassy in Haiti. I don't know. Well, we must have good diplomatic relation with Haiti, but for the past couple from ever since the Caribbean community, we've been sold a bad taste, a bad apple as to where Haiti is concerned. We're going to look at the whole history of first post. There's shout out to this. It's an Indian owned news media named First Post. So we're going to play some excerpts. They did some research, and trust me, it's a really good research. And it give you in a nutshell the Asians' history coming up the line to when the Americans invade and so on. We're going to play that, but as it is right now, what we're looking at, Jamaica finally decide to send troops to Haiti. I don't know if IMF, the IMF thing that we've gone through, that we have been through, if it have anything to do with it. It could be. Because, you know, there is one thing which IMF, how much was it? Some 700 odd million. I remember I read it more than once, and even on this program, and I've been saying, I don't know what it is that would make IMF just decide to give us, to make us qualify for that. But this could be it. Jamaica sending about 20 soldiers. And the Prime Minister says that's just a start. You know, sending 20 soldiers, I don't know how many police, into Haiti. It could be that we had or have been also working with the Haitians behind the scene too. Okay, you know, just jump up and say you're going to our country like that. There must be some intel. So it could be that we have been working with the Haitians behind the scene. But the reality is the Haitians are our brother. They are the tribe of Levi. Yes, they were the ones who were in charge when in Jerusalem when Christ was around, when Christ used to talk about the scribes and the Pharisees and the lawmakers. They were the lawmakers, or the guardian of the law, whatever you would call it. But they were the ones in charge. But just like all 12 tribes, you know, everybody will get our punishment. But they they successfully cut the chain of slavery. But when the Messiah decide that he's going to punish you, you know, you can't decide that you're not going to take the punishment. He will find ways to punish you. So even though Haiti break the chain of slavery, they haven't had peace. Even when they became in the turn of the century, early 1900 coming up, when Haiti was like the inspirator behind black consciousness, you know, in America, you used to have a lot of little Haiti, they used to call it, which were thriving. They were the inspiration behind thriving black towns. When America realized all these, you know, when they invade 1819, something like 1915, BAPS, these black thriving black towns also came on attack. This is right in the turn of World War One and World War Two. You know, suck away the last little wealth from the Mosai's people here in the Caribbean and you know in America. The little difference, the little gain that we were making after slavery, you know, then just come back for it. But anyway, let me check my comments. No comment as it. But all right, the thing is, come on, no, which one should I play for? All right, I'm going to play the Prime Minister's thing there first, where they decide to send, because that is the purpose for the show. So let's play that first.
Will be sending troops to Haiti, 20 members of the JDF and 4 members of the JCF.
None of the
Right, so it's 20 soldiers and 4 police, 4 members of the JDF. But of course, you know, it's not going to be 4 ordinary police, probably training officers. That would be the sensible thing to do. I mean, we're sending 4 police in big Haiti to do. Asian population almost 3-4 times our population. What we would send in 4 police over there to do? if not to train other police over there. Right. And what would you be sending 20 only soldiers to do if not to train some Asian, possibly Asian army? All right, let's continue.
The countries that have made commitments have deployed all at once. It's not practical. It's not possible. Preparations have to be made in the host country. And so as those preparations are made, then and the possibility of scaling up happens, then we will.
Right, just like I was saying, there must have been some dialogue before him decide to do this. And here he's saying it. Preparations have to be made over there in the host country. And it's more than one countries who pledge support. I don't know. Maybe the IMF. The good name you get from IMF is to, you know, give you some money to put this way. So rather than putting the money in the hands of the Asians, maybe it's putting it in the hands of some countries who want to help. So because it's not cheap. Military intervention or any intervention into any country, not cheap.
We will, on our side, fulfill all our commitments. So this is a start to what we intend to do. And as the situation in Haiti is prepared for our presence, we will deploy.
We also asked for a comment on.
But you know, that is a good start in Jamaica on Jamaica's part. You know, I think we had sent troops to Haiti before under John Bertram Aristide back in the 90s, I think. Yeah, in the 90s. We had sent troops over there that put boots on the ground. Obviously, you know, it didn't go all that good, it seems. But the big meddling behind Haiti is America. All right, so that's that. Let me jump to a scripture right away. Look at some scriptures that can show you that, you know, Haiti being our brother, we should really be assisting our brother. I mean, guess what? This is not something that we are doing on our own. Meaning, we didn't get up, jump, as Jamaicans didn't jump up and say, let us help Haiti. But of all the countries that is pledging to help Haiti, we Jamaicans here, you know, we are a brother to Haiti. Meaning, they are a blood brother. They are one of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. We being Benjamin, they are Levi. They also, the other country beside Dominica, that's one of the tribe as well. They are the tribe of Simeon. I don't know what assistance they pledge and what they are planning to do. Let me save this. I don't think I need anything more from this.
Calls by the opposition for Parliament to be convened early to discuss the Integrity Commission reports.
All right, so yeah, we don't need just to play what the Prime Minister had said about pledging to Haiti. All right. Book of 1 John 4 and 20. 1 John 4, 4 plus verse 20. If a man say, I love God, you see, we here in Jamaica, here Jamaicans, even when if you catch a man with a gun killing his brother, he will tell you that him love God. Every man tell us him love God. That's one thing that's common in Jamaica. But the scripture says, if you say you love God and you hate your brother, and believe it or not, many of us Jamaicans do hate the Haitians because our minds were poisoned against them from the time when they cut the chains of slavery, because they didn't want the freedom to spread to the other slaves. They cut all ties with Haiti. And even after the chains were removed, the poisoning still continue. You know, they have nothing good to tell us here in Jamaica about the Haitians. Tell about them work up beyond voodoo, and I mean, voodoo is a religion, you know, just like we have Christianity is a religion, right? The Christianity play on the mind of the people too, telling us that we are Gentile when we are the children of God. We are the children of the Bible. We are the descendants of the Bible. We are Jews, not Jewish. The ones there fighting the war, they are Jewish. We are the Jews. And there are many persons in authority here in Jamaica know that. So, I mean, we now never really get to be friends with the Haitians much, which is why every time they come, each time you see a ship of Haitians come to Jamaica, they send them back. When they start, feed them, give them medical attention, and then send them back. Well, I mean, I wouldn't like to be running from a war country, from a country sunken in war, only to be sent back to that country. I wouldn't like that. But that's what we do to the Haitians. So, 1 John 4:20. If a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he's a liar. I don't know people, enough liars here in Jamaica when it comes to, do you really love your brother? For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? Right? We here, we don't like the Haitians. Yet you can see the Haitians. They have been to Jamaica. You see them on TV all the while. They are your brother. They are the tribe of Levi. You don't like them. But you're still going to say you love God. So how you going to love God and don't like them? And don't like your brother? Haitians are your brother. Right? So, it's like, maybe it's a thing where, like I said, we have Jamaica has sent troops already in Haiti. When it was a similar thing, spearheaded by America, and I think some other countries were involved. But it seems as if this time the Americans don't want to put their boots on the ground. Maybe not yet, maybe not never. I don't know. I don't know what is their plan. Who know what Esau is planning? They are the damn devil the Bible speaks of. Right? Right? So, I mean, who knows what they have up their sleeve? But while we know there's no pledge from them as to boots on the ground. But they seem to be finding money to pump to the countries who pledge support. But yeah, really and truly, being that we don't know when Christ will return, you know, these countries that host the children of the Most High, you know, the true Israelites, almost all of them in turmoil, you know. Yeah. Haiti could probably be counted as a verse right now, because I mean they don't have a government. The country is overrun by poverty. And another thing I don't understand with Haiti, there's a lot of other races in Haiti, you know. Yeah, you have a French middle class in Haiti, lives in Haiti. And when, sorry, but the ones that you see on the news all the while is the poor. And there are some rich oligarchs in Haiti, white people living in Haiti, rich white people living in Haiti. You never see them. Something not right there. Probably our government in the Caribbean do these research and see what's happening and decide it's best if I stay out, because maybe they would want to help the Asians themselves, but when they look at the top, it is a rich, nasty, white Satans, you know, the same white man, that the same devil that the Bible speaks of up there in authority. What you're going to do? Right? They suck the wealth of Haiti. They don't pay taxes. I mean, can't pay tax when there is no government. So you can't contest me as much as you want on that. There's no government. Government collapse. Who they are going to pay tax to? Who's going to come to them and ask them for taxes? The gangs that you see there, they look well funded too. So that's another thing. Right? So, you know, governments, who is behind this? We know it's America. So those of us who want to help us really, you know, do some real research, put some intelligence into it, get some intel from the country, you know, or else you could be sending your soldiers into the grinder. So even though, but what we need to develop is a attitude of help towards Haiti. Because once we develop that, if we can help them, if the boots on the ground don't work, there are other ways we can live. When they come to Jamaica, find a way to grant them asylum. Right? Maybe you can use Jamaica and enroute them from Jamaica through Jamaica to somewhere else. Right? But the thing is, the Americans have spoiled them for so long that, you know, they have become now like the Palestinians. You see how many countries refusing the Palestinians. But the countries around the area that they're not opening their borders, you know, because it's a twofold thing, because they have done so before and then the Israeli did not allow them to come back. So, you know, they are like they form another country in your country. Millions of them. What you do with them? Right? Your economy cannot absorb them. Which is why we say the white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. Because they create these kind of mess, put money in their pocket, but they do not look back at the mess that they create. You know, like when an animal in the woods just filth and walk away, leave it. Other animals come and step in it and think. This is how they operate. All right, so this show is not a long show, so we're going to jump into this now. The first post, we're going to start the first post presentation. how did Haiti can become so powerful? No, this anchor. Well, we know she's an Eden, but she seems to be one which does do her work, journalism work. Research, not like the ones in America who research with a bias. They seem to. So because of that now, which I mean, get some amount of credibility. All right. Right. So this form the basis for the Asian poisoning within the Caribbean. You know, what if the slaves in my territory get inspired by these other slaves? Let's speak bad about them. Let's do all that we can to isolate them. However, what the Asian fought and gained was the same thing that the other slave territories really needed. Please be quiet. Was the same thing that the other slave territories were fighting for. Here in Jamaica, we had the Maroons who end up getting their mind poisoned by the same oppressor because they wanted freedom or to maintain their freedom. But we wanted the same thing that the Asian had, but they were able to poison the Caribbean mind against the Asians. Poison the mind in the sense that, like I said, you become eaters of Haiti. Hello? Right. So this payment of which they had to be paying to the French at one point resulted in them had to close hospital and schools so that they could meet these payments because they borrowed money from the French banks and pay to the French government. So now they have the French banks to repay. And for some reason, these banks seem to have some to get their government to send military interventions into other countries. Just like if we really and truly can pay IMF one day, I will just decide to not pay. They might see some troops come and invade Jamaica, but IMF does not own an army. Right. This is the period now where the Americans were coming on the scene. This was when Haiti, the turn of the century, that's when within America you had a lot of little, they can call them little Haiti, which is Asian inspired villages among the ex-slaves in America who would pop up across America. Just like how you have Chinatown, are one of those that are, I don't know, Chinatown might be the more famous one. So within any city in America, there's a Chinatown. So in a lot of the cities in America, there was a little IT, but at the turn of the century, the Americans killed them out, killed that inspired period of time because it is it's the most sized people that the wealth of these nations depend on. From way back in Egypt, when we were in Egypt as slaves in Moses' time, Egypt became powerful because we were there. Then the Babylon was around when Egypt was powerful, but Babylon was not any country to talk to. Mesopotamia was around, but Babylon did not come to any prominence until when they invaded Jerusalem. Same thing for the Persian Empire, same thing for the Grecian Empire, Rome, America. All these countries which rule the world did so because they had us pumping their economy in the background. They stole what we have within their economy to pump their economy. Just like right now in America, the black majority states are the ones who generate the money. That money now goes and run other states. That's the way it is. Right. So long did it last. All right, we're gonna jump now to another clip which had shown. Where is it? Another clip which um speak of the time or when the Americans invaded Haiti. So we're gonna break that one and jump to another one to talk about this period of time when the Americans invaded Haiti. Right, so this 1915 time was the time when the Americans came in. Same year, the U.S. Marines came in. Right, so this was a period of time now when the Americans went in and took the Asians' money from its central bank, took the gold, the real gold, put it on ship and take it into America. So Asia, the Asians, even though they became the first free black republic, they weren't given a chance to survive. All right, so let's switch back now to first post. Just giving a cross reference. This one was done by DW. This is the DW is the Germans, right? So this one that I'm just playing, this was done. There's a stamp DW. Just putting a disclaimer out there. We don't own any of these clips. We're just using them for educational purposes only. All right, let me switch back to first post. Right. If most of us will remember Asian, a part of Asian history with the Papa Duck and Baby Duck. They were backed by America. They were American puppet in Haiti. No, couldn't get things stabilized under these men. So in other words, the Asians themselves, after freeing themselves, never really gained a chance to govern themselves, really. They were influenced by the bigger powers. All right, let's continue. Right. Many of us recently, this was in the 90s now when John Bertram Aristide was president, when some coup again overthrew Bertram Aristide, and Jamaica put boots on the ground. We sent troops in Haiti at that time. If I'm not mistaken, I think that CARICOM troops were one of the first set to land in Haiti. Maybe that's why they are so taken aback now. Because after going in, maybe they realize what was really happening.
Interesting historical.
Right, so sorry, there you have it, telling you about the Haitians' history. Right, there is also one, probably I misplaced that one. But anyways, the Haitians, they're the modern, the problem they have in the turn of the century, the 19 something, early 19 something, is when because you know it seemed as if they were, you know, going through what the strings that the French had on them in terms of, you know, reparation. Imagine you free yourself from them, you know, and then them they put a string around your neck. They put a shackle on your neck for you to pay them for monies that they lost because you took the country away from them. Because you took your freedom from them. Can you imagine that? You know. But we in the truth here, we already know who the devil is, right?
Like yourself.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the whole move and learning the history through the truth regarding our brother and our sister, brothers and sisters in Haiti, and the constant oppression. But while it's in the news this evening and the move to send troops into Haiti for different categories to, you know, take on a mission. Because we are under the oppression of Esau, could that move of us going to Haiti be influenced by Esau?
Read that last one.
I was asking, because we are under the oppression of Esau,
Mm-hmm.
could that move going into Haiti be influenced by Esau?
I mean, where our government said they're putting boots on the ground.
Yes.
Definitely. That's what I'm talking about. That's the topic of the show. And it is happening at a time when we are seeming to be doing well with IMF. IMF said, you know, them pump some money and extra money, which, you know, come up with a new way to give us some money. Who knows? Maybe that money is for, but it's a loan for the Asian to fund that Asian intervention. You know, they can give us a loan, you know, because it really and truly, if you can't pay back, they can always write it off. They could give you as a grant, but if they give you as a grant, you might eat it off and don't do the work that they tell you to do. Yes.
Not yes, sir. I'm just looking at it from this angle too, because Haiti has been going through these devastating events affecting the grassroots people.
Mm-hmm.
But it has been long in coming. I am just wondering, is it why now at this strategic point are we sending in troops in there? Not saying that we're not to, but looking at the whole move, as you say, with IMF, you know, and it could be influenced by some decision that the general populace is not privy to.
That's what I'm saying. There is some influence. There is some influence. And that influence is the bigger power. The one that rules around this side of the world. But I'm looking at it from the angle that, you know, what can we as Jamaicans learn from this is to not eat the Asians. Right? We should not hate the Asians because the oppressor in the past has taught that to us. I remember I learned that in school when we were doing history, and we learned that the Asians were the first one to break the chain, and we also learned in school that they use voodoo, yeah, and we also learned the various things are bad mouthing against the Asians. So because of that, we Jamaicans tends not to like them. But we not liking them was not of our own accord. It was taught to us. Yeah, just like how somebody can teach you to hate an next person. Like, you know, you have some friend who come around and say, hey, don't chat to so-and-so because of so-and-so. and tell up your lies.
It's like you
And
said.
hold on, and you end up eating somebody on their account, because what these demons are doing now is recruiting more demons against you when you go contrary to them. Yes.
Concern, and I'm just looking at it. You see, the brainwashing, the hate is so deep, because even to know there is a particular vegetation or vegetable, should we call it vegetable that we eat? They call it gully bean or sumba.
It's like it's really the fruit of the tree. Though.
Yes, the fruit of the tree. And it is being said, and I've heard it said from a very tender age or coming up to know, that the Asians use it. So these are the things that they use to blindside and to really shift our focus on the real problem, right, that we're facing. That they use it to work voodoo. And so because they see us eat it, because it's eaten by Jamaicans, you know, and
they tell you that
they
the
became
Asians,
afraid of us.
right? That the Asians, that's what they say, but we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't go around them, so we don't know if they're really afraid of Jamaicans because Jamaicans eat susumba or gully bean, as it is called. We don't know, but that's what is told to us. Now, how would those a person know to teach you that? Obviously, they have been going around them. I mean, so they have some Jamaican business people who went into Haiti and do some big business. Did you say? I don't know the name. Caravan Boilers. Caravan Boilers business in Haiti was bigger than the one they have in Jamaica. The population is bigger. But I don't know, I heard that they were closing the shop. Maybe I need to research it. Call them and ask them if that's true. That they were closing shop in Haiti. That a lot of the Jamaican business was closing shop in Haiti. Which could be true because the government, the country is destabilized as we know it. But destabilized for who? It's only destabilized for the poor. It's only the poor in Haiti, you see, taking boat and going taking to the seas. There's no rich Asian, you see, or middle class Asian, you see, running. What about the French middle class that is there? How comes they're not running? Obviously, if they are leaving Haiti, they are probably on a plane going to France. Who knows? But Haiti has some wealth which is not talked about. And, you know, which is why these big countries have, just like in the documentary that we just played, they tell you that the wealth in Haiti has been sucked by these nations. What wealth? Oh, they have minerals, plus, you know, the labor which they had, because your people working and paying tax, that's wealth, you know. That's how the big banks come in now and lend you money, and then what's your fiscal responsibility, like in Jamaica, and your tax sheet and all that. Oh, well, you're collecting. And say, oh, you're doing good, man. We can lend you some money. Yeah, we'll then lend you the money, and then, you know, you have it to pay back down the line. Because apart from the physical shackle that you know, usury is also a shackle on you. Right? Which is why we have laws in the scriptures where we can lend to a brother on usury, and usury is just interest rate. In other words, we can lend a brother our money and take it back, charge him interest on it, I should say. So we can't tell Leviticus 25 and 36. Let's see what that says. Book of Leviticus chapter 25, verse 36. And it says, take thou no usury of him or increase. But, all right, let me see where it starts from. I like to start this. All right, this is talking about we lending to each other. Verse 37 says, thou shalt not, all right, start at 36. Leviticus 25 and 36. Take thou no usury of him or increase, but fear thy God, that thy brother may live with thee. 37. Thou shalt not give him thy money upon usury, nor lend him thy victuals for increase. This is how it's, in other words, it's teaching us not to get rich off each other. Usury is a burden. Yeah, that is why many of you out there, we can me borrow money at times too. You borrow money from the banks, and then, as they say, payback is a dog. Because in order to pay back, many times you have to cut things from that you would normally be purchasing, just so you can pay back. And what is causing this is called usury. That interest rate that you have to pay. It looks simple, don't it? You borrow 100,000, and they say, all right, pay me back the 100, pay me 10% on it. And you say, okay, 110,000 that. But they tell you, all right, I'm going to make it easy on you. Pay me back the money in 3 years. And you look and you say, oh, 10%. But that 3 years, it's 10% per annum. So this year you pay the 10%, next year you pay 10%, and the next year you pay the 10%. 3 years. So what you're actually paying is 30%. Plus, nowadays they tell you about processing fee and all that. When you add up all that, you're paying pretty close to 50% on these monies that you borrow. And it's called, by the scriptures, it's called usury. And this is what destroyed Haiti. Usury destroyed them. You remember what it says? The levy that the French put on them, they had no money to pay it. So what they did, they borrowed from the French bank to pay the French government. But they did not understand usury. And usury was what destroyed them. And then after they pay off the French banks, and they tell you which year they make the final payment. Then you have the US government who start give them money in the form of aid. And they have IMF to pay and all this. Still usury again. But in the days when money was gold standard, it seemed as if they were doing much better because, they remain the inspiration as the first free black country in this side of the world. And they hold that title right up until when the Americans came on their shore. And after that, it was just downhill. Come like diarrhea after that. All right? But, that is the big thing that destroyed the Haitians. So the government of the French was not able to actually physically go there and work them and get their labor for free. All right, you're going to pay me this money. a year, much billion of US dollar, the money they pay to the French government, how much billions of dollars it equal to? All through usury. Usury is dangerous. Usury is one of the things why Jamaica cannot move forward. Yeah, about the big debt that we have, IMF debt and thing. And we are jump up now and go, oh yeah, we are getting much money, more money for borrow from IMF. Usury. Usury is the killer. And this is what they put. Every single one of the Lord's chosen people who is scattered among in the world, whichever country we are in, is bonded by usury. And guess who is the biggest one? Who have the biggest debt to pay in usury? Yes. America. America owed the most money. But who, you have an army to go and collect. You have to have an army to collect from them. Yeah, you're that is a question.
And then when they have this rope shackles and upsurge, you find that they ask you to jump, you dare not ask them how high. Right? That's the IMF.
Well, yeah. We also talk with them in that, take their money and tell them, so we're going to do X, Y, Z and don't do it until we reach the end of the road. You really need some money. And the IMF say, you know what? I ain't giving you a dime. Crash and burn. I think it was the time when Peter Phillips was finance minister. And then they say, okay, all right, we are sorry, blah, 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 blah. We're not gonna do it that way again. We're gonna we're gonna stick to the plan, and blah, 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 blah. And IMF gave them a plan, gave them some things to do. They started it at that time. It's the same road that the present finance minister traveled. It didn't divert. So even though the government changed, they stick to that same IMF plan and come out beating IMF at their own game. But now they remove the finance minister. You're going to get a minister now who is not so good with the figures as this man. So you're going to, 10 years from now, you watch. You're going right back to square one. Yeah. Unless you're in a situation where IMF starts, okay, debt forgiveness. But guess what? Jamaica not going to fall in the category of debt forgiveness again, because we are not a C-class rated economy. We are a B+. So we are in the category of B. That's why I tell you that money is in Jamaica. It's just not in the hands of the grassroots people. And grassroots people finding it hard to get some of that money. But money is in Jamaica, which is why we are now classified as B class. Once we were B+, we don't know if we are B- or B+, no, but we know we are B class. You are not qualified for debt forgiveness when you're a B class economy. When they rate your economy as B, if they rate you as C, then or D, you might get debt forgiveness. But who knows? Jamaica is presently playing their game. They're on the road now to giving LGBT some. They have big leverage now. Don't be surprised if you start every year that law change and they can now get married legally. Then next thing they are doing now is playing their role in sending troops to Haiti. Because this is how the next World War III coming up. Nobody look and say these big countries, they're going to send their citizens to die for anybody. You're going to have to pledge, every country will have to now send soldiers into these wars. Jamaica starting in 20. Wonder the next batch is going to come from where? Not only that, when those soldiers leave there, is it that we might end up sending soldiers elsewhere after Haiti, because they are going to come back with some experience. Who knows? But one thing we know here in the truth is that we are now on the road to where the Most High is destroying these greater countries. And how many of us is going, as blacks, Hispanics, and Native, going to get in the destruction, because we are joined to Esau. We need to sever ourselves from him, right? So many of us here in Jamaica, wanted to be a soldier. Come to UP, can come be a soldier, man. Come be a righteous soldier. Come be a soldier for Christ. Because now you're going into 80. 80 is your brother, but they are not under righteous rule. You're going to fight gangs. And that's one of the worst war you can end up in. Fighting some people who are fighting you. You in your uniform, but they are in civilian clothes. How are you going to know them? It's only when you see them with a gun, you're going to know that they are hostile. They just put down the gun and they are not hostile again. How you control that? Civil war is the nastiest war you can have. Nasty. You saw the war in Ukraine stay and terrible. Civil war is worse than that. And I think Sudan, presently, they are in a civil war. These wars are nasty. That's why things are the way they are in Haiti. But for we here in Jamaica, and for we here in the truth, we are not perturbed. We only give you these information, guide you as our people. Let you know you should not hate your brother, the Haitians. Start showing them love, I mean, they are not in our country. Well, there were some Haitians here, working in, I don't know, they are still here, or if them leave the country, or what has become of them. But they are not so plentiful again in Jamaica. They used to be out here a lot. Maybe they're just not in our eyesight so much again. Maybe they have gone to the States. Maybe they have gone elsewhere. I don't know. But, we have to learn to forgive our brother. So that now brings me to Matthew. Matthew what again? Is it 18 and 21? Matthew chapter, let me try 18. I'll try 21. Right, this is it. Matthew 18, 21 and 22. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? Till 7 times? No, really and truly. Has the Asian ever sinned against us Jamaicans? I have no record of that. Because we and them have never interfaced. Who did they sin against? They took their freedom from the French. And the French were friends to the Americans. All of them is just one set of Romans. Right? They're all Romans. Call themselves different names. But they are all of the East, I think it's Western Roman Empire. One block. Same people. And they have been doing the bidding of the French from ever since, and have been suffering the Haitians. Our government taking up this, which, like I said, maybe it's a good move, but we know that we are coming to the end of Esau's reign. So sending some troop over there, maybe they will see for themselves that the Haitians are not as terrible as they have been teaching us, and those troops can come back and tell the people, say, hey, these people are not as bad as they are trying to make it seem. Those so-called gangs in Haiti that is on the street, they are funded. Gang can't function. I bust up so much shot and now a replacement shot. Can't buy a replacement shot. They would have out long time. So we didn't getting shot. I mean, look at how they dress. These are not gang men that are, barefoot and dirty clothes and things. Look at the kind of guns they are firing. They are funded. So, you got to do your work when you're going in. Don't jump in blindly. And you might just look and say, oh, my brother. And next thing you know, to you, he's your brother. Him don't know that you're a brother. And whoever is funding him is going to tell us, hey, no, kill him. You understand? We don't know. There's so many unknowns when it comes here. But what we know is that they are the most sized people. And they're in a situation which they need to be alleviated from. So maybe we sending troops again on the ground is maybe the first step of alleviating their problem. Right? They're not the only one with a gang problem. Look at what is happening in Jamaica. So, I mean, how many stones can we hear in Jamaica throughout the Haitians? Look what happened at Chris Martin. What is it? His grandparents set up whatever, shoot 8, kill 2, something like that.
No, shot
6.
Done by the number, sir, but one died. The eight.
No, they killed 8 in Clarendon.
Okay.
But I'm talking at that one event. I think about 8 got shot up, and then 1 or 2 died at a setup in the countryside, not in the Kingston here. These things used to happen in Kingston from a long time, and people used to look at it and say, make them stay over there and kill themselves. Just like how we hear what used to happen in Haiti, and we hear say, let them stay there with it. And next thing you know, the same thing come and happen here in Jamaica. So the cause of what is happening, I guess we can say it's the same economic pressure. So if usury was the economic pressure on the Haitian, and the same usury is on Jamaica, how far are we from becoming like Haiti? Don't throw stones at them. We are on the same road. Haiti have a gang problem. Does Jamaica have a gang problem? Don't throw stones at the Haitians. Yeah, your brother. All right, so Matthew, I read all of that. Jesus said unto him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. So, the Haitians, I've never read in any book or heard any story by the ear that the Haitians did anything to us Jamaicans for us to be eating the Haitians. Who want to eat the Haitians is normally them up top who claim say them afraid of Obia or afraid of voodoo. Yet still, who you think go to Haiti for them same voodoo. The same one them in Jamaica who teaching you to hate the Haitians. That's where many of them going on. Take plane and go there, you know. Fly to Haiti. But you know, voodoo is a religion, no? Just like how you have Christianity as a religion. You know, a country in Africa named Togo is a small country in Africa. It's their national religion, that you know, voodoo. But the Haitians, even without the voodoo, would have still been hated by us because they severed the chain from early. And what they do, they put the chain of usury on them. Still a chain. Still mash them up. As a matter of fact, they come like you mash them up worse. But can we say so? Because the same thing happening to us now. There was a time when Haiti never was a little more peaceful than now. Yeah. Yeah, you know? Yeah.
Like yes, sir. And what other thing I've recognized is that and it's something that it is very distasteful to just hear somebody say out of the blue, like in our Jamaican term. Suppose let us hit back home. You see that boy, them you like that boy, and then you find that this is being said by one person among a group of persons, and then if you don't mind, the entire group start hating the one person. Why do you hate on that person? Why do you do it? Because somebody say they don't like the person. So it has a ripple effect among our people, and this is one of the things that has caused a lot of our people to be unalived.
Exactly. Which is our inability to forgive each other. Because we can't forgive each other. Reprisal keep coming. Which is why we in UPK, what is the hallmark of the truth is brotherhood. The foundation stone is brotherhood. Everything else is built on that. And that was what Christ was preaching. How many times to forgive my brother? Why have to always forgive him. And it has nothing to do with you becoming, when it's a turn the other cheek, you becoming an idiot for making somebody taking disadvantage of you. That's not what it is about. That is you now forgiving somebody who didn't ask you to forgive them. Right? That is when you're going to become an idiot. I mean, somebody harm you, they never come to you and say them wrong. But you put yourself in the way for them to harm you again. If they come and tell you that, boy, shouldn't have done this and blah, 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 forgive me. Then you forgive them. Right? But, we in the truth here, we try not to we don't carry grudges against persons in the truth or out of the truth. So, you do something outside the truth, you be careful. Outside the truth, I mean, we might just clap back. You come and ask for forgiveness, you'll be forgiven. Why? Because that's what Christ would do. Christ would forgive you. And if we are doing Christ's work, then we have to forgive you. Right? So maybe we have to find ways while going over there to the Asians, find ways to teach them to forgive each other. Because a lot of those killings that is happening with the gangs, so I reprisal. It's reprisal. But there's a bigger force behind the whole thing, right? Which is pumping money, because gangs need funds, pumping money, pumping guns. Guns are not made in Haiti either, and yet Haiti is full of guns. So, you know, that is in itself tell you something. Jamaica does not make guns, but Jamaica is full of guns. And many of you stupidly know is going to hear me say that and say, yeah, but at the same black man, them go over there, go buy it. Hello. These devils make it available easily in the country. So you're going to buy it. It's called temptation. You go I mean, you can walk into their gun store and buy any gun, any shot. And then now you know is going to think, oh, you can get it back home. And then your own brother now is going to say, you know, is use the problem. It's not use the problem. It's the one who make it so that you can get it so easily. Him is the problem. Am I preaching gun control? Preaching gun control on Jamaica. We're talking about what is affecting us back home. Right? We have to talk about that. What affects us back home here? What is affecting the Caribbean? Usury and guns. Right? All right, so I think we can wrap it up there because, you know, exhaust the one topic, I think. Could have gone into some other topic, but boy, this Asian thing here is huge. All right, so, you know, conflict zone, another night, talking about the conflict between us and Esau. Two nations are in your womb. Two manner of people. And from then till now, it's been a conflict between we and them. All right? So, until next week again, we ask, pay your tithes. The tithe is what helps to push the truth. Right? Pay your tithes, like and subscribe to our channels. All right? And come into the truth. Until then, what can I say but shalom?